Welcome, JNF Water Mission to Netafim, to Kibbutz Hatzerim. Here, this is where it all started, where drip irrigation was introduced in 1965. We were a small community of farmers here at Kibbutz Hatzerim. You know, I personally joined the kibbutz in 1964. We were struggling. As I said, farming community, we tried to grow food here in the fields, and it was tough. It was a constant struggle. We didn't have enough water. The soil was very poor, and we had several failures. In 1965, we decided to look for an industry. And we wanted this industry to be somehow connected to agriculture. We wanted to be farmers. And we met Simcha Blas, an engineer who invented drip irrigation. And we liked the idea. We applied it first in our fields, then all over Israel, and we saw amazing results. Even here, you know, in our orchards, we grew pears, apricots, peaches. In year one, we had double the yield with half the water. So the farm manager actually came to us and said, guys, we should keep it a secret. We shouldn't tell the story of drip irrigation to anyone. Keep it just for our kibbutz, and we will have the best yields in the market. Well, of course, we didn't keep it a secret, and today, fast forward, Netafim, that's the name of our company, the pioneer of drip irrigation, is a very successful global company. We have close to 30 subsidiaries all over the world. We have 14 manufacturing plants, the first one in California, but then Mexico, Chile, Peru, Brazil, Australia, South Africa, China, India, Turkey, Holland. We are basically all over the world. Our sales volume last year was a little over $1 billion, and we work in more than 100 countries, helping farmers, as we say, to grow more with less. Grow more, higher, better yields with less water, less fertilizers, using less land, and we are quite successful.
More than 50 years ago, Netafim was founded on a small kibbutz in Israel and introduced drip irrigation to the world. Drop by drop, field by field, we have become the world's largest irrigation company, leading the drip irrigation revolution and helping the world grow more with less. With its end-to-end smart irrigation solutions, Netafim offers a diverse portfolio of products and services that address every need, from the water source to the plant's root. Starting with unique financing capabilities and best-in-class planning, through leading agronomic and technical know-how to cutting-edge innovative irrigation technology. We will accelerate the growth and drive mass adoption of smart irrigation solutions by investing significant efforts and resources in developing emerging markets, deploying large-scale irrigation projects, and increasing the penetration in commodity crops. Netafim is leading the way into the future, in which sophisticated robots and automated systems will drive simplicity in irrigation, reducing the dependence on working hands and natural resources. Advanced sensors, satellites, and data management systems will help farmers to control and monitor their fields from the palm of their hands, facilitating precise agriculture and allowing them to benefit from better yield and greater peace of mind. Together with our partners for success, we will lead the change for a sustainable future. Netafim. Grow more with less.
Our technology is called drip irrigation. We deliver water and nutrients directly to the roots whenever it's needed, wherever it's needed, in the right quantity and the right quality of nutrients, fertilizers, and so on. Sometimes we do not call it irrigation, we call it nutrigation. To do that, we use emitters or drippers, which are inserted to the dripper lines, and you can see it all over Israel and all over the world. The idea is to spoon feed the plant with exactly the amount of water which is needed at the right time and at the right place. This can be applied to small farmers, to backyard gardens, and to very large, intensive, advanced, sophisticated farms, basically in the developed world and in the developing world. When we started, most of our work was in the more developed countries with the more advanced farmers. We started, of course, in Israel, then in the United States, in the Mediterranean, in Australia, in South Africa, and mainly with high-value crops. Strawberries, grapes and wine grapes, pistachios, and slowly we found that we are working more and more in the developing world with smallholder farmers and more with your basic foods. When you're talking about food security, you're not talking about strawberries, you're not talking about pistachios, you're talking about potatoes, about cassava, about sorghum, soybeans, corn, and rice. And more we work with those crops. Our number one subsidiary is in the United States. This is our largest and first subsidiary outside of Israel. We are based in California, obviously, but working all over the United States. We grow wine grapes in Napa and Sonoma. We grow almonds in the Central Valley in California. We grow corn in the Midwest. We grow cotton in Lubbock, Texas, citrus in Florida. We are basically all over the United States. But we are also working in India, and India right now is our number 2 subsidiary, very fast growing. And in India we have beautiful examples of what we call community irrigation. In India we work with smallholder farmers. Just for example, we have a project in the state of Karnataka where in one project we work with 7,000 farmers in 22 villages. Each one has his own small farm, something like 2-3 acres, drip irrigated. It was fully subsidized by the Indian government, by the government of the state of Karnataka. And the results are amazing. The return on investment is fast. They get higher yield with less water, but the amazing results are on the social level, what we call capacity building. And we are talking a lot about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. I was very fortunate to be present at the United Nations General Assembly Hall when the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, were adopted in September of 2015. And the SDGs are talking about poverty, about food security, about water, about gender issues, climate change, about economic growth, about partnerships, and so on. And I realized that in our work, what Netafim does, especially in the developing world, we are touching most of those SDGs, most of the goals. So obviously water, we are saving water, we are helping farmers to grow more with less. But when we work in India or in sub-Saharan Africa, most of the workers are women, 50% and more are women, and they are empowered by our system. We are talking to them, we are sharing our know-how with them, and the result is that they bring more money to the family, they bring higher yields, they learn about the technology, and this is empowerment, and this is helping the world coping with gender issues. We are standing now at the jojoba plantation of Kibbutz Hatzerim, and this is a beautiful example of what you can achieve with drip irrigation. We are in the middle of the desert. There's hardly any rain here. The soil is very poor, and yet our jojoba trees are number 1 in the world. We have the highest yields in the world. The jojoba oil which we produce is used for the cosmetics industry all over the world. By the way, it replaces whale oil, so it's another contribution to the sustainability of the world. And this is all thanks to drip irrigation. The dripper lines are buried underground, and to save water, the water that we are using here are 100% reused wastewater from the kibbutz, from Be'er Sheva, and from a nearby Air Force base. And by the way, using a water treatment reservoir which was built with the help of JNF, not very far from here. So we are very proud of the jojoba plantation here at Kibbutz Hatzerim. The best way to understand drip irrigation is perhaps to tell you a little bit about some examples. So it all started in Israel, especially here in the south, in the Arava desert, where hundreds of farmers are enjoying drip irrigation and getting first-rate yields, eggplants, peppers, cherry tomatoes and regular tomatoes, dates, all grown with our drip irrigation, and a beautiful partnership with the Israeli government, with the private sector, and of course the farmers. And JNF, Kerel Kayemet, is also helping them in some infrastructure work. If we move from Israel, we can go to California again. Sometimes the challenges are not necessarily water. The dairy industry in California, there are millions of cows, and they produce a lot of contamination. Liquid cow manure, which is putting the whole industry in risk. And we spoke to the dairy farmers and tried to offer them a system which saves water, and they said, no, we have enough water. So what was their challenge? And they said, pollution. So basically, to cut a long story to a very short and very successful one, we are using the liquid cow manure, which is produced by the cows. We are treating the water, and through drip irrigation, we are irrigating the corn, which is being fed to the cows. So this is a beautiful example of circular economy, helping the growers to get higher yields with less contamination, less damage to the environment. In Texas, we did several installations of subsurface drip irrigation, where on the surface we grow with the same system. We grow cotton, we harvest the cotton, and then with no tillage, we plant corn, then we harvest the corn and we plant wheat. So zero tillage, no greenhouse gas emissions, high yields using subsurface drip irrigation. With drip irrigation, as I said, we are helping farmers to grow more with less. And saying less, it's less damage to the environment. It's also helping social issues with smallholder farmers, very poor farmers in sub-Saharan Africa or in India. Actually, this is the idea of Tikkun Olam. With drip irrigation coming out of Kibbutz Hatzerim, coming out of Israel, we are fixing the world. This is Tikkun Olam, and sometimes it makes me more proud than the business success that we have achieved out of this small kibbutz in the middle of the Israeli desert.